our dial. Okay. Is our mega dial. Okay. Is our super mega dial. Welcome everyone to Matters. Check your time is 19 minutes after 1 p.m. just right here in the city of Lagos, Nigeria. Everyone, welcome again. My name is Jude. Ikami Jude. Welcome on board to my show. Okay, hey, see, this afternoon, well, for some of us who were with us yesterday, it's going to be a continuation of what played out here yesterday. Okay, Chukwudili will be with us anytime soon, of course. And but then I promise you that I would have some other persons join us on the show today to dissect all of these issues back to back, one after the other, especially as regards to what is happening in the southeast Nigeria. Everyone, I hope you are ready. And of course, I want to say welcome to Matters. Before I get to introduce my guest, let me let you know that it's going to be quite conversational this afternoon, okay? It is, of course, the open mic edition of Matters. Of course, today is Friday, okay? Yeah, today is Friday. So shortly, I'll get to open up the studio lines and get your views, your comments, your opinion, your observation, even your query. But hey, you need to keep it civil for me. You need to keep it civil for me. And don't also forget that our phone lines are always open for calls, okay? And alongside our WhatsApp portal is also open. 08171756338 is the number to send your messages to. 08171756338. You could just go ahead and save that number, okay? And then much more later, you can call 0700 903 903 903. All right? Beautiful. Okay, let me get to introduce my guest at this point in time. All right, first of all, I want to introduce to you Chukwuma Okoro. He is on the show this afternoon. Good to have you, Chukwuma Okoro.
Good afternoon, Judy, and good afternoon to our listener out there.
Beautiful. I also have Dele Fanimo in the studio this afternoon. Good to have you join us, I.
Always my pleasure has been here, and I want to say you stay glued to this station as we talk about Nigerian issues.
Exactly. Okay, everyone, like I said, Chukwudili will be with us anytime soon. Okay, don't worry, we'll talk. So in case you are joining me outside the shores of Nigeria, I want to bid you welcome, a big welcome. All right, just sit back and let's talk about our dear country Nigeria. But we'll begin from the southeast Nigeria, like where we stopped yesterday. And hey, for some of those calls I couldn't read, some of those messages I couldn't read yesterday, yeah, please just do drop them again and make sure, it's quite civil. It's readable. Okay? Are we good to go? All right, let's go there. Okay, now, ruling in an appeal of IPOB's designation as a terrorist group, coming in 90 days, a division of the Court of Appeal in Abuja just yesterday reserved its judgment on an appeal brought before, on an appeal brought by the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, challenging its proscription as a terrorist organization by the federal government. A three-man panel of the court, led by Justice Hama Barka, adjourned the matter for judgment after the parties, that is the federal government and IPOB, through their respective lawyers, adopted their final briefs of argument. What I'm trying to say here is that a division of the Court of Appeal in Abuja has actually reserved its judgment on an appeal brought by IPOB challenging the federal government for calling that group a terrorist group or a terrorist organization. And we discussed these yesterday, and a lot went down, a lot played out yesterday. Some persons hated the fact that my guest, who is also an Igbo man, said, and I quote, "I concur that IPOB is a terrorist group. If not, why will all of these killings be happening in the southeast?" End of quote. But for me, I am just here so we can have these issues dissected in a very better manner. All right? Let's have it dissected. Now, Chukwuma Okoro is here. He is, from the Southeast extraction. I want to begin with you. They say that, for the fact that federal government is saying that IPOB is a terrorist organization, is like a crime, is like a no-go area. That is a statement by Southeasterners. Is wrong for you to say that IPOB is a terrorist organization. But again, my guest said these terrorist organizations are in cadres. We have a lower cadre, and we have the upper cadre, and that Boko Haram is up there. Why IPOB is on the low side of it. Now, let me ask you, what do you think? Let's dissect this issue properly, without fear or favor. All right, but let's be factual. What do you think? What would you say? You are an Igbo man. When you hear people say that IPOB is a terrorist organization, owing to what is happening in the southeast, would you want to say yes or a no? Let's begin from there.
All right, Jude, thanks for having me once again. You have packed a lot. So what I'll do is to unpack it bit by bit so that we can make sense of it. The young man, or I don't know, the man that said that IPOB is a terror organization,
no, first by the federal government.
Sorry?
First.
By the federal government.
Yes,
I'm coming to that. But the man also said there's some kind of stratification, that you have the high terror groups and the low terror groups. I tend to disagree with him because terror is terror. There's nothing like small criminal and big criminal. The moment you go to court, if you have committed a crime, you are a criminal. So if we have terror groups, a terror group is a terror group. Now, he's entitled to his opinion anyway, but in trying to push that opinion, it will also be nice for him to have facts, to prove his case. Now, the federal government went to court, High Court in Abuja, and said this court, IPOB, from the activities, should be designated a terror. The court gave that ruling. IPOB went to another court in Enugu, another high court of competent jurisdiction, court of concurrent jurisdiction, that said, no, you cannot proscribe IPOB because it is not a terror organization. And now they proscribed it. That was why the case is in court now. So the case being at the appeal court is sub judice. So we have to be very careful the kind of pronouncements we make on air.
Beautiful.
So that we don't run foul
of
the court, and be charged with contempt of court. That said, the whole issue, whether IPOB is a terror organization or whether Boko Haram is a deadly terror organization, speaks to the grand conspiracy and the insincerity of this particular government and the previous government in fighting insecurity. Jude, the same government that is very quick to tell you that IPOB is a terror organization has not, by any stretch of imagination, gone to that same court to say that Mieti Allah, herdsmen, Boko Haram, who wield assault rifles, who attack Nigerian military officers, bring down police stations, destroy our arms, ammunition, vehicles, arsenal. This same federal government has not found it convenient to go to court and say Boko Haram, herdsmen, and Yeti Allah are terrorists. Meanwhile, we have international security rating agencies that have clearly said on several occasions that, look, Boko Haram, Yeti Allah rank as one of the 7 deadliest terror groups in the whole world.
Okay.
So doesn't that speak to a conspiracy? Now, we understand that there is insecurity in the southeast. On very rare occasions, has IPOB come out to say, look, we are responsible for this. And when they do, you discover that it is not related to killings. IPOB will say, look, we are responsible for disrupting markets on sit-at-home days. The leader of IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu, DSS went after him. When they went to his house, did they fight any catch of arms? Was there a pistol? Was there a penknife? Was it a bayonet that they discovered in Nnamdi Kanu's house? We see bandits overrun our military, seize our armored personnel vehicles, burn down military stations, police stations. The other time we had 150 people killed by bandits. Are they terror organizations? Are they terror groups designated by this government? The answer is clearly no. They keep calling them bandits. We have this same government that cannot go to court and say, look, this is what it is. So doesn't it speak to a grand conspiracy? Farmlands, villages have been cleared. People pushed out of their native lands in the middle belt by herdsmen. And what do we hear? We hear that it's a header-farmer clash. It is not header-farmer clash, it is ethnic cleansing. People are chased out of their native lands and those communities remain renamed. In the midst of all this crisis, we see a military that goes to aid the killing of these people. What has the government done about killer herdsmen and farmer clashes? Yet it is very Jude. If you move from one end of the southeast to the other, you have 94 military checkpoints. From one end to the other, 94 military checkpoints. You have Python dance, you have Udoka dance, you have all of that. Yet, the whole of the northeast has been a theater of war for more than 20 years. It was in 2003 that Boko Haram started. What has the federal government done in that regard? Is Boko Haram a terror group? They are called insurgents, bandits and all of that. So doesn't that speak to a grand conspiracy against a particular people? So the young man that said that IPOB is a terror group, well, he's entitled to his opinion. But like I said, the case is in court. So comments we make here might turn out to be sub judice. So we have to be very careful how we push out narratives. That's it for me.
Okay. Let me get to Dele Fanimo. I decided to do this. You know, Dele Fanimo is not someone from the southeast. But I want you to.
Sorry, Julia, can I chime in? I like the fact that we discuss these things as Nigerians. Not because I'm from the southeast or
beautiful. That's exactly.
So when you say Chukwumaya from the southeast,
no, I'm not profiling you. Sorry, no. Listen, I'm not profiling you. I want to look at it from the fact that this is directly. I mean, we're talking about your home.
What if I have?
You understand? No. Before you become a Nigerian, you were first an Igbo man.
Do we agree to that fact?
No, I'm talking. This is me talking to you.
Nigeria, do we agree to that fact that we are essentially who we are before we become Nigerian?
Of course. I think so.
It's all right.
I think so. Let me get to Dele Fanimo. What do you think? You know, when people, I understood what he said, trying to say that IPOB is not, you know, a terrorist organization. All right, you are a student of history. And before we entered the studio, you mentioned a couple of things. Was it Abiola or I can't remember who you mentioned and all of that. Now, I want you to look at it. Let's look at it categorically. Do you want to concur to what Dele Fanimo said, or you have your own opinion?
You say should I concur with what Delifani
with what Chukuma said? I beg your pardon. Would you want to concur with what Chukuma said, or you have your own different opinion?
Yes, to some extent, on the premise of treating issues differently based on where you belong. Yes. That is, if you are calling IPOB a terror group, what do you call bandits in Zamfara? Because it's just like name calling, and name calling could be as a result of giving wrong profiling so that you can descend on somebody. I tell you, perhaps they call these people bandits. That's why it's easy for government to handle them with kid gloves. But the kind of human wreckage that happen around these territories where bandits, for instance, nobody has accepted that IPOB will go to markets and begin to collect taxes. But the bandits in the northwest, they cordon off a whole local government and begin to control that local government. Non-state actors, here to call them bandits. And by my own dictionary, a bandit is somebody that invades your community and loot, to retreat to enjoy their loot. But when you now have an army of occupation within the country, giving out orders, imposing taxes, farmers would have to bribe them before they go to their farms, and yet you are calling them bandits. At least I want to see it as double standards. That's one. Two, you see, it's difficult for a group who admits to be a terrorist organization that will come to the open to go to the courts and insist that what you have done is wrong profiling and it must be corrected. On this assertion, I stand to be corrected. I've not seen, even when Yusuf that first led Boko Haram, I didn't see him in court before he was taken out to challenge the position and the profiling of government of Boko Haram. Shekau, at best, would do a recording and circulate in the social media. So, for me, profiling is not same thing as actions that depicts a group. And to this extent, I may not want to go further because it's still sub judice if I begin to say or insist that this is the way it should be, because it's like preempting the judgment that is soon to come. But in my own opinion, this is what I believe. You understand?
Of course.
So, if the judgment comes from the appeal court, you know there are two judgments in existence now. One is saying the profile IPOB, they are not terrorist group. Another court of same coordinate jurisdiction is saying IPOB is a terrorist organization. So let's wait for this judgment and then we'll take it from there.
Okay, I got a message not quite long from Chukwudili. He says that he's actually stopped in traffic or trying to get fuel, from one of the filling stations. But then we just hope that he gets here, in time, so we can also ask him some of these questions. But then, Chukuma, he also mentioned something. I just don't know why I'm quoting him while he's not here. But then the show has to go on. He said he doesn't believe in the secession idea of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. It's just a plot for some persons to just get rich from this whole idea, from this whole thing. First, he mentioned Wazirike, that he's been able to enrich himself. And now Simon Ekpa is somewhere, and then Nnamdi Kanu is also enriching himself. In fact, he was also having a conversation with somebody who said that Southeasterners outside the country, some of them have a certain percentage, they send to, Kanu's account, to support him in his in his fight for these breakaway, so to speak, from Nigeria. What do you think? Do you, or would you want to also say, well, the man is not saying the truth? He's not, like someone said, he's not an Igbo man. He's not fit to be called an Igbo man because he does not support the fact that Nnamdi Kanu is fighting for the Southeasterners.
No, Jude, again, the man is entitled to his opinion, especially when he's available to give us facts, to his assertion. And I, on the other hand, it would be wrong for anybody to say that he is not an Igbo man because he doesn't support the secessionist agenda of Nnamdi Kanu and a group of other people. It's wrong. It would be stupid of anyone to believe that, look, everybody must support the idea that Biafra, that Igbo should exit Nigeria. It's wrong because it never happens. It's a struggle. When people talk about struggle, it's a cause that people buy into. It's a cause that people oppose. I'll give you instances. In South Africa, during the apartheid period, we had the ANC, as a front runner organization, that was fighting against white domination. ANC was formed even before Nelson Mandela was born. But along the line, you had people like Robert Sobukwe, Rao Gadabe, who belonged to the PAC, the Pan-Africanist Congress. All of them were pursuing the same idea of, look, the white man let us have multiracial election. They were not agreed. Do you know what led to the Sharpeville massacre in 1959? And the other one in 1976, the Soweto uprising.
Okay.
It was largely because of a disagreement between ANC and PAC. In 1959, ANC called for avoidance of pass. Blacks were issued pass. Before you come out to the streets, you must have a pass. ANC said, no. Let us do some kind of sabotage so that people will roll into the streets. On the day that the ANC, some days before the ANC agreed for their own boycott, the PAC rolled out. And there was confusion, and it was in the midst of that confusion that the Sharpeville massacre happened. If you go to, in 2014, there was a Scotland vote to leave the UK, that a union that had existed for 200 years. Not everybody agreed. 51% voted to remain in the UK and 49% voted to exit.
Okay.
So does that mean that the people that voted to remain, that they are not Scots? So you cannot say that because a certain person holds the opinion that, look, I don't support the Biafra agitation, that he is no longer Igbo. It is not true. Majority or many people in Igbo land, both living in homeland and outside, don't support the agitation for reasons best known to them. And now the issue has been, government, why don't you call for a referendum so that the people of Southeast, in the face of the marginalization they have been crying out against, in the face of exclusion from the commanding heights of the national life, in the face of everything that they have passed through since after the war, why don't you conduct a referendum so that they can decide whether to remain part of this union or to exit?
Okay.
You can even conduct it so that people in the Southwest, we are seeing Professor Akintoye and Sunday Igboho say, no, we want to exit. They even went to UK to appeal to the Prime Minister of UK to support them. At a point, you had the Arewa people saying, Araba, we want to leave. So that brings to the equation the issue of negotiability of our unity. Why do you say that a union that you entered into is no longer negotiable when you want to exit? That is what is at the root of this agitation. If people want to leave, you let them conduct it. That was what happened in South Sudan. In 2006, in 2006, a referendum was conducted. After more than 40 years of unrest, more than 40 years of carnage in Sudan between the South and the North. And the people voted to exit. That was what gave rise to the Comprehensive Peace Agreement. under the watch of Bush 2 and Colin Powell. Within that period, in 6 years, South Sudan became an independent country. And you see why a certain group, South, you know, if you to the Kordofan and the Blue Nile area, Darfur area, that is why you still have crisis in those areas. Because they have been unwillfully merged with the other Sudan. So the CPA excluded them, and they are still struggling for their own independence. So if you had said, okay, let's conduct this same referendum for this part of Sudan, that problem will not be there.
Okay.
So at the root of this thing is, why don't you allow the people to decide? In 2016, there was Brexit. What happened? People in UK voted to exit the European Union.
Okay.
And today they are not in the European Union. So why should it be a problem that the Nigerian government cannot conduct a referendum for anybody that wants to live to live?
Thank you so very much, Chukwuma. I'll get back to you again. Let me go to travel to the heart of Enugu State, where Jane Eze is waiting. He is a public affairs analyst. He's just right there. Can you hear me? A very beautiful afternoon to you.
Yeah, I can hear you. But my name is actually James. James.
James. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, James Eze, for being a part of the show this afternoon.
You are welcome.
Yeah, I understand you are in Enugu State right now. Where exactly are you?
I am in the city of Enugu in southeast Nigeria.
Okay. Okay, beautiful. Thank you so much. Now, help us understand what is, playing out in the South is, because some persons have said that ever since Nnamdi Kanu started this idea of his secession, ever since he started putting the Igbos against the federal government, or putting the Igbos against other parts of the nation, that was when these insecurity issues started happening in the Southeast. Tell us, is that really the situation?
Please, can you come again? There is little static, and I couldn't hear the exact question you asked.
Okay, I said a couple of persons have said there is no peace in the entire Southeast. Let me break it down that way. There is no peace in the entire Southeast because Nnamdi Kanu is fighting a cause that he would never win. He's fighting to get he's fighting for something he would never get. Now, what is this? What is the true situation in the Southeast as regards to security or insecurity?
Thank you very much. I think I heard you clearly now. I would like to say that the situation in the Southeast is deplorable to a very large extent, security-wise, because prior to the recent wave of violence and insecurity in the region, the Southeast used to be the safest region in the entire federation, because the average Igbo man is all about his business. He has no time even for ordinary protests, since he is more focused on eking out a living, an attribute that actually helped our people to stage a ferocious comeback from the civil war, from the ruins of the Biafran war. But that is not the case at the moment because of the incident of the agitation that once overwhelmed the Southeast, the self-determination agitation, which is not really strange in the country, considering that at different points in time, Nigeria has been rocked by separatist agitations that date back to the time of Isaac Adakaboro in the Niger Delta,
Okay.
And so it's not new. Even as we talk, just only a few weeks ago, the leader of the Yoruba self-determination group, Mr. Sunday Igboho, had taken a letter to the number 10 Downing Street in London, in pursuit of the same kind of agitation, which is actually guaranteed by the UN Charter on people and human rights. So self-determination is not a complete violation of the norm, as it were. The only thing is it done within the confines of the law? Is it a peaceful, agitation? Is it without violence? And I dare say that at the inception of Nnamdi Kanu's agitation, the indigenous peoples of Biafra, the movement, which even up till now is a membership organization, because I had to make this distinction because the tendency is for people outside of the Southeast region to assume that every Igbo man is a member of the IPOB and treat us as such. It's a membership organization. I'm not a member of the IPOB, and so are many other people who are not members of the group, but who might not be completely averse to the principles that, the group has been pursuing in view of the criminal neglect of the people of the Southeast. And everything about our existence seems to be, devoid of the federal presence, so to speak. And so many people who are sympathetic with the agitations mounted by Nnamdi Kanu are doing that because they look at their misery, they look at the state of the region, and they see no signs of the presence of the federal government. And when there is no clearly indicated and clearly marked out, involvement of the government in the lives of the people, it leaves a lot of room for all kinds of sentiment to take firm roots. And that's what has been happening. As I talk to you, right here in Enugu, and, if you travel between Enugu and, perhaps the shorter distance is Oka in Anambra State, if not for the agreement reached between the federal government and MTN, the road connecting Enugu to Anambra, is absolutely impossible. And we don't have any federal presence here, any serious federal presence. All the things, all the infrastructure, all the institutes, all the major,
let me come in here.
parastatals and organs that would have served as employment generators in the Southeast don't exist.
Okay.
In the real sense, in the sense that you look at other regions, you look at Lagos, look at Abuja, and look at other places where federal government has its presence. You wonder why
James says
the absolute neglect.
Can I?
These are some of the agitations, and at the moment, the Southeast is not really as horrible as it is painted. Of course, there are pockets of flashes of violence here and there. But we still manage.
Can I ask you a question, please, quickly?
To exist and eke out a living under very severe difficulties. Don't forget that some of us are children of people who survived a brutal genocide.
Can you hear me? Hold on, please. Hold on, please. War. Can I come in? Can I come?
We have perfected survival strategies in Nigeria.
Mr. James says
sadly, it doesn't seem as if our situation is any better than of our fathers.
Hold on. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, beautiful. You made mention of something. You said you are not a member of the IPOB, right?
Yes, I'm not.
Fine. But let's look at the meaning of IPOB, Indigenous People of Biafra. And I don't know if you've heard some person say that every Southeasterner is IPOB. Have you heard that?
What did you just say? How what?
That every Southeasterner is IPOB.
No,
is an IPOB member.
That is not true. It's not
really?
factual. Like I said in my earlier submission, I said IPOB is a membership organization. You understand? They have it is made up of people who belong to an organization.
Hello?
Or at least I mean whether they want to belong to Nigeria or belong to, the Republic of Biafra. But that does not mean every one of us is not a member. I am not a member. But I live with the consequences of the hardship imposed on the region because of the activities of the members of the organization.
Beautiful.
So,
okay, so
under such circumstances, shouldn't the federal government review its position, on the Southeast? Because people who are not members of the organization are suffering, the neglect that, that the region has suffered. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Of course I do.
It's just like going to the north and assuming that every northerner is a member of Boko Haram.
I'm sure you give a thumbs up to the fact that like some person stated that it was when Kanu started this whole thing. All right, that was the same time we had this insecurity in the Southeast. All right. Hello?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Insecurity was Nigeria has always had insecurity, but we had not. If you are talking about the kind of insecurity that we have in the East now, where there is a phenomenon known as the unknown gunmen, unknown gunmen phenomenon. It's a new fangled crime that began after a while when some fifth columnists began Kanu's group, because we must not forget that when Kanu started, his group was non-violent. Their mode of station was non-violent, and they kept it like that for many years. So now there is no clear proof that they are even the ones behind the unknown gunmen phenomenon, because the group, the agitations and the movement has been infiltrated by fifth columnists, by people who have other sinister agenda beyond the self-determination that Kanu's group has been agitating for. So we need to make a clear distinction between the worsening insecurity and the actual, demand and the inspiration that, triggered the movement in the first place. Because you just like every good cause, sometimes, there are infiltrators. Sometimes you just never know. And we have been witnesses to some of the, movements, social movements in Nigeria that were infiltrated. Sometimes, I remember, if my memory serves me well, that there was a time when the pro-democracy activities in the Southwest was infiltrated by agents of former President Abacha. And it became difficult to tell who was who. So how are we sure that what is going on in the Southeast at this moment is not a reflection of what had happened in the Southwest in the past?
Okay, hold on, please. Hold on, I'll get back to hold on, please.
Lagos
yeah.
And hounding,
Hold on, please. Hold on,
It's not
please.
easy to tell.
Just no. Let him hold on. I'll just hold on for me. Let me get to Dele Fanimo before he leaves us. There was something you mentioned You know, you said, like, I used to say here, Kokoro Tinjefo, you know, follower. Like, Nnamdi Kanu is where he is
the enemy
today.
is always within the enemy.
The enemy is always. I wanted to just help us understand, you know, what might be playing out.
You see, there are some dynamics. For instance, this man has come out to say he is not subscribing to IPOB because it's not compulsory. It's membership-based organization.
Okay.
And also, we could also have some people that because of their business interest, because of their personal business, because of their personal interest, will not subscribe to IPOB. Not because they don't have that agitation in their mind, but because they have to defend their bread and butter. They will rather remain. And these are people that are even dangerous to that agitation. They blow out in the afternoon and they go behind in the night to do something terrible. I remember when MK Abiola was incarcerated, the late Chief Adedibu of Ibadan, the great politician in Ibadan, went and met with him one-on-one, and he said he should accept conditional bail, at least to get out of that detention and then begin to agitate. But some people went behind him and said, no, don't agree with him. Let's fight this battle to the end. But as it is today, one of them is that Tokoya. Then Falomo was one of them. These are people from the southwest. These are people that were very close to MK Abiola. And as soon as that man died in prison, they keyed into Abacha and they were singing different songs. So what that tells you is it is possible that this kind of people also are mingling with right thinking, genuine agitations in the southeast that may make it difficult for this impasse to be resolved.
Because now back to Mr. Skuma, I have often asked this question: as big as the southeast, yeah. Mr. Denifamil can leave us now. Thank you so very much. Yeah, I understand you have for being the TV right now. I've asked several questions, like, as big as the southeast, there is no one who's been able to speak with the president genuinely to say, President, can this man be released? Some persons say, oh, wait. Some persons we've had some. I remember when the House of Reps, members of the House of Reps from that end went to meet the president. Senators also went to meet the president. The OBs went to meet the president. And up until now, does it mean these guys are not powerful enough to at least secure the release of this man?
You see, Judah, when you use a certain word and adjectivize it...
Please, can you use this microphone? I think this one is better.
Is that right?
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
What I'm trying to
Beautiful.
say is that when you use a word and you try to qualify that word, you adjectivize it.
No, alleged, right?
No, it's
right?
not even about that.
Okay.
When you say speak to the president and genuinely, you know, the genuinely there is what I'm trying to interpret. Because people have been going to, during the Buhari era, Southeasterners, the Southeast Caucus in the National Assembly led by Enyinaya Beribe, who even signed as surety to Nnamdi Kanu before the government renditioned him from Kenya, was the leader of the Southeast Caucus in the National Assembly. We have traditional rulers, we have governors, you know, differently and collectively gone to see the president, including this very president. We have Ohaneze, you know, so it's difficult for me to understand, you know, how somebody or a group of people from the southeast will be the reason why the government has not released Nnamdi Kanu. In my candid opinion, Nnamdi is held at the behest of the central government, not anybody in the southeast, not a group of people in the southeast. Now that there is insecurity in the southeast, how are they benefiting from it? How are their business interests protected? I keep asking people. People say that, no, governors don't want him to come out. If Nnamdi Kanu comes out tomorrow, is he going to contest the governorship of Anambra State in 2025? He is not from Anambra. So why would the governor of Anambra State want him to remain there? Because of his influence. Same thing as Imo State, Ebonyi. Nnamdi is from Abia State. Does he want to contest the governorship of Abia State in 2027? If he wants and he's out of detention, Alex Otti can't stop him.
No, but people tell you he has enough political followers.
Enough
Nnamdi
political followers to do what?
can tell the Southeast, let's go this way, and everyone goes that way.
Now, how are they going that way?
No,
He's in detention.
He's still in detention.
Nelson Mandela was in detention and controlling the ANC. Now, Nnamdi Kanu has come out to tell you several times, the sit at home called for the Southeast by IPOB. It's not at my behest. So what kind of influence does he have? See, the influence is about the agitation, is about the struggle. He is just the driver. Yes, to an extent, he has influence. But how much influence does he have? To the extent that governors, political leaders, businessmen will conspire and tell the presidency and tell the central government not to release Nnamdi Kanu. This same group, this same collective cannot go to the same central government and say, come and fix the roads in the Southeast. Give us federal infrastructure in the Southeast. So is it convenient for the government, central government, to listen to them when it comes to keeping Nnamdi Kanu? The same central government cannot listen to them when it comes to deploying or redistributing resources to the Southeast. So it's not, I mean, it's a no-brainer. I don't see how someone can make sense out of it. How?
All right, hold on. Let me get back to James. Mr. James, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Beautiful. Thank you for holding on. Let's retrace our steps before we got to this extent. Let's go back. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Beautiful. Let's get back. We started from IPOB being treated or referred to as a terrorist organization. And some persons have said, no, they are not a terrorist organization. All right? Naming, say Boko Haram and all of these guys. But I am zeroing on the Southeast. Now, often we've seen videos of some men, boys, in one forest, displaying machetes, displaying guns and all of that, and calling themselves IPOB or, IPOB soldiers or IPOB army or IPOB whatever, and threatening the lives of the people. And sometimes one wants to ask, are they actually fighting the Southeasterners or fighting those outside, other tribes, like fighting, I'm looking for a name now. I just want to call names now at this point. Are they torturing their own people or protecting the region? What is it like for you?
Well, you see, the entire scenario, the insecurity conundrum in the Southeast is so complex that it is not easy to tell. It is what I said earlier about a situation where there is when you allow something very bad to persist for a long time, you open the doors for infiltrators, for fifth columnists, for people with sinister agenda of different types to move in, and it becomes very difficult for you to tell who the true agitators are from the opportunists, from organized criminals who could easily put on the uniforms of and impersonate different groups, including the Nigerian army, and the Nigerian police. We have seen such, and sometimes it becomes very difficult. So many people have been at different times fingered for the unrest in the Southeast. It is so complex that it has become very difficult now to know who is who. And it all began with, the whimsical designation of the IPOB as a terrorist group. And mark you, it takes a lot for an organization to be designated a terror group. Once you have that designation, you are doomed. And that is why the federal government, even in the heat of Boko Haram onslaught in the north of Nigeria, did not, rush to give them that designation? Has the murderous Fulani herdsmen, have they ever been referred to as terrorists? Were they not called insurgents, bandits, just any name but terrorists? The same thing applies. You know, the Southwest, there was a time, I was living in Lagos when the OTC was very murderous. You know, they were never branded terrorists. But, you know, I don't know why the federal government was in a hurry to designate, you know, a self-determination seeking group as a band of terrorists. That was the turning point.
All right, hold on. Let's find out.
That I from my observatory, the group became a little difficult to handle because now the nuance that was not there in the beginning had been introduced. So the complexity under the umbrella of terrorism, so many infiltrators jumped into the fray.
Okay, hold on. So let me come here. Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this question, and I also ask Chukuma, who is in the studio here, this same question. Now, who is actually disturbing the Southeast? Because oftentimes I've heard people say, roadblocks everywhere in the Southeast, armies, checkpoints, and all of that. You know, everywhere in the Southeast. That's one. And I also want to, you know, say this. Some will tell you, well, it is government that is actually disturbing the Southeast, you know, bringing in soldiers on daily basis and all of that. And then some other persons will tell you, no, it is their own brothers. These guys masquerading themselves as IPOB soldiers and all of that. So now, the big question is, in your own opinion, who is actually disturbing the peace of the Southeast?
It is very difficult to tell because you alluded to the series of checkpoints and you know, military roadblocks on most roads of the Southeast. You ask yourself, to what effect? To what effect have they existed? You understand what I'm saying? So how effective has been that strategy? All the Operation Python dance, all the Operation this, Operation that, that the Nigerian Army had, you know, mounted in the region. To what effect? At the end of the day, what has been the essence of it, the usefulness of them? I'm saying that, in essence, the federal government is shirking responsibility, is avoiding a direct address of the anomaly in the Southeast because they know what to do. They know exactly what to do.
All right.
I listened to the argument earlier about what the Southeast ministers and you know, caucus in the National Assembly and all those things. What have they done? The question is, when the federal government granted amnesty to hardened Boko Haram proponents, how much effort did the leaders of the northern part of Nigeria make to make the federal government, to convince the federal government to institute an amnesty program, even that took care of that and introduce some programs to rehabilitate former terrorists.
Okay.
Why is the Southeast treated differently?
All right. Thank you. Chukuma, maybe you want to throw more light on that, because before you speak, it will shock you to find out that the Nigerian police in Ebonyi State said it arrested no fewer than 177 suspected criminals for various offenses in October alone in 2024. The full information is that there is this organ harvesting, people where they commot people parts and all of that happening in Ebonyi State. All right. And that is part of the insecurity we're talking about. So I don't know if you want to. Would you say Northerners come there? Begin to perpetrate this evil or what? Maybe you throw more light on it,
let me chime in on that.
Okay.
When you talk about organ harvesting, when you talk about kidnapping, it's not isolated in the Southeast.
Alone.
The other day, the same police command, Nigerian police command in Ogun State, paraded more than 2,000 criminals for different offenses. You know, so when we talk about insecurity, we talk about it not as a criminal law enforcement issue. What I mean by criminal law enforcement is that you have, people who broke houses, people who went to break a store to steal, people who pickpockets, or people who went to a village or community to steal. No, we are talking about insecurity in the light of non-state actors being in contention with the government for the struggle of the control of the monopoly of the legitimate means of violence. There's something that is called legitimate means of violence. The armed forces, the police, the security agencies. I mean, if in front of the studio now, if you have policemen and DSS, soldiers, cordon this office, and with guns and ammunition, you and I will simply come and walk past. You know why we do that? You know why we pass without raising hair, about it? It's because they have the legitimate means of control of violence. With those guns, they can kill. But when you and I are traveling between Ore and Bini, all of a sudden, we see people jump out from the bushes with AK-47 rifles and all of that. Probably 3 or 4 cars have been shot at, people taken away, people killed. That is the insecurity. It's not about stealing. You get the point. I've made a distinction now. So that the police arrested 1,000 or so many of them in a Bonny state doesn't amount to the kind of insecurity we are talking about. That one is law and enforcement. It cuts across every part of Nigeria. It's everywhere.
But insecurity is insecurity.
Armed robbers. No. I want us to be very clear about it. When we talk about insecurity, we talk about non-state actors. Non-state actors trying to take over the control of government.
Correct.
So, that said, I think the speaker from Enugu probably didn't clearly understand where we were going about when we talked about governors and ministers and all of that. We were not asking how much they have done. We were talking about how people tend to think that they are the ones that go to presidency to say, don't release this young man. Am I clear now? Now, on the question you asked about how insecurity, what was the question again? Can you refresh my memory? The last question you asked the speaker that led to this one.
Which?
The last question you asked him that you said you like me to chime in on.
Okay. No, I was saying the security situation. Who is the problem of the Southeast?
Exactly. Jude, without traveling far, the government, the question we should ask is, how much responsibility has the government taken in the insecurity that pervades the Southeast? Let us look at the root cause of insecurity. You asked him a question. Before Nnamdi Kanu came, he said there was some kind of peace in the Southeast. Jude, as at 2011, 2012, 2013, Nnamdi Kanu was now campaigning for the Igbo to exit Nigeria. The records are there. Go back to the archives. Nnamdi was asking, what do we do as a people? Can't we come together, different nationalities, can't we come together and talk about how to make Nigeria a better place? We have population which is an asset. We have a demographic, youthful, more than 40% of our population. Youthful, active, upwardly mobile, very creative, very intuitive. How can we harness those energies? The Nigerian community elsewhere in the US and the UK account for the most educated diaspora community in US, Canada, and Europe. Back home here, why are we in utter decline? That was Nnamdi's concern at that point. It was in 2015 that General Muhammadu Buhari made on the scene and started taking everything to the north, excluding the southeast completely. It was at that point that Nnamdi started saying, no, we can't build a Nigerian nation like this. How can you appoint 17 security officers and none of them is from the southeast? But adventure, there's a security meeting and there's a conspiracy to finish or do something against the southeast. Nobody will even come out and tell us. How do you run this type of government in a multi-ethnic society? That was when the issue of agitation came out. And the first thing he said, can we conduct a referendum to even decide whether Igbos still want to remain part of this agitation, part of this union, sorry. And you know, in that light, when people are excluded, means of resolving issues, grievances are closed out against them. It's a natural thing that they will resort to agitation. And agitation comes with one thing. The speaker from Enugu said something about peaceful conduct of agitation. I'm a student of history, but I don't know anything. I don't know everything in history. I want him to tell me, how peaceful has any agitation been in Africa? Even in Europe, when Europe, for more than 120 years, 150 years, Europe was a theater of war, arising from agitation to remain distinct. To remain distinct. It was after those wars. I'm not advocating war. We had one. Relying on the experience of history, European history, we are able to come together, modulate and moderate our differences to the extent that we become a union. But when the state closes out those avenues, Judah, we have had 3 conferences between 1995 and 2014 to talk about how we can modernize this union so that the greed and the grievance can be dealt with and everybody will remain part of this union peacefully. That has not happened. When you close up those avenues, you have agitation. It starts from peaceful, it gets into sabotage, sometimes it gets into warfare, guerrilla warfare, and all of that. There was black on black violence in South Africa. In South Sudan, for more than 40 years, carnage between the North and South. The Rwandan crisis spanned for more than 40 years. Can't we rely on those experiences and say, no, we don't want to go that direction?
Okay.
So why do we still? That's why I say the central government, how much responsibility can they take for the insecurity in the South? Is because they have not unpacked it. They still treat it as a holistic thing about fighting insecurity in Nigeria, to Kano jets, sending military military to some parts of the country. That is not a problem. They should get to the root cause of the insecurity.
Thank you so much. Mr. James says, are you still there with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Lovely. See, maybe I would ask you this question and let you go so that I can now open up the studio lines. Okay?
Okay.
Now,
okay.
Some have said Nnamdi Kanu is not the issue here. That the issue, the person who is actually messing up the Southeast is Simon Ekpa. He's the one who is throwing, bombs here and there, doing things, harassing people in the Southeast. Now, would you say yes or no?
Yeah, to a very large extent, I know that Simon Ekpa has his own splinter group, because he has been quite vocal about his control of his group and their capacity to cause harm. But I would still say that the situation is very nebulous. It would be wrong to say that everything wrong that has been happening in the Southeast was caused by the Simon Ekpa group. I think that, who I would rather blame is the federal government that has chosen not to be affected by the plight of the Southeast. Because if you have a problem, since we are a federation, once there is an issue with a particular region of the federation or a particular state of the federation, the wise thing to do is to solve it. And I give you an instance. Some years ago, what we now know as kidnapping began in the creeks of the Niger Delta. It sounded very strange, very alien, that people people could be kidnapped in Nigeria. It was very strange then. And the federal government allowed it to linger for a long time. In time, it became the reality of our daily existence in the country. The same thing happened when Boko Haram was starting. It sounded as if it was something happening in far away Borno State. I was living in Lagos when it was starting, and it didn't really bother us that much because Borno is a long distance from Lagos. But over time, the gruesome murders and terror activities going on in the north became the defining image of Nigeria as a whole. It was because of that Nigeria even found its way on the list of terror traumatized countries.
Okay.
Because the federal government was again hesitant, in tackling that malaise. So I blame the federal government for paying scant regard to what is going on in the East. I wouldn't really say, let me blame Nnamdi Kanu or blame Simon Ekpa or what. These guys have made their feelings known. But what is the response of the legitimate government to it? A government exists to solve problems like this. In different parts of the world, government exists to solve problems like this. That is my own view of it. Of course, they know that if Nnamdi Kanu were to be released today, and there was a time this year that we had all imagined that the federal government, since Sunday Igboho had been released, that they would grant the same gesture to Nnamdi Kanu. So we were all optimistic, hoping that if Nnamdi Kanu were to be released at that same time, that maybe by now the Southeast would have started experiencing the usual peace. Can somebody tell me why Nnamdi Kanu is still being held by the Nigerian government up to today, even when there is a substantive, court judgment that set him free?
All right.
I would like to know.
Thank you so very much. I want to appreciate you, Mr. James Eze, for being a part of the show this afternoon. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Regards to the governor of Enugu State, my friend.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. All right. Do have a great day today. Okay. This is VOP 90.3 FM. You want to add to what he said? Is there something you want to say? It's like when you're looking, it's like you're not comfortable with some of these statements.
No. I am. But what got me thinking is that when you initially asked him the question, he sat on the fence. But I'm happy that at the end of his intervention, he agreed that, look, and asked the same question I asked: how much responsibility should the federal government, the central government, take for the insecurity in the Southeast? It is clearly of action and reaction being opposite and equal. If the government does right, Jude, let me say this thing on air.
Okay.
If you conduct a referendum in the Southeast for the Igbo nation to decide whether they want to be part of Nigeria or they want a separate state for themselves, you will be surprised at the result of that referendum.
What do you think the result will be?
It's difficult for me to say, but it will be a surprise. It will be a surprise. Because opinions are divided. Some people say, oh, we want to stay. Some people say, oh, we want to leave. Excuse me. The people that want to leave are more vociferous. But the people that want to stay understand, the larger context of how Nigeria will benefit everybody as a whole, the diversity, the asset, the population asset, the vast land that Nigeria offers, the business opportunities. We cannot be trying to cut in bits and pieces when regional economic blocks is the in thing. That's the new trajectory. Look at the EU. Look at the Schengen. You travel from one part of Europe to the other with only one visa. Look at the protocol on free movement of goods and services. We try to create an AFTA, African Continental Free Trade Agreement. What is the essence of that? Europe has moved to being states of Europe to a state of Europe. The only thing that is left for the EU is to say, we have a common president, we have a standing military,
Okay.
and we have dismantled our borders. In fact, the borders are already dismantled. The only thing is that the conflict in foreign policy, I mean, when there is a conflict between the foreign policy of EU and the foreign policy of an independent state, that of the independent state takes precedence. Apart from that, EU is a state. Many people in UK are regretting why UK had to exit the EU. So at that point, people are of the opinion that, look, we shouldn't try to balkanize Africa, and place restrictions on ourselves in this era of globalization. The opportunities are, overwhelming. So that is why I said it will be a surprise, the outcome of a referendum.
And that's why I asked you what you think it will be.
And I've just given you out.
Maybe you'll be surprised. A whole lot of them might say, well, we are not going, but let them just do the main thing. Do the rightful.
That's
do
one
the
part
needful.
of the surprise. On the other hand, people outsiders, Southwesterners, Northerners say, no, this thing is just a rabble rousers. Nobody wants to leave. The Igbos don't want to leave. So if the Igbos vote overwhelmingly to leave, it will be a surprise to those people. So that's why I say, anyhow it falls, either side, head or tail, it's going to be a surprise. But let us even have that. If you conduct a referendum and there's an answer, trust me, nobody will talk about self-determination. Nobody will want to exit again. Because if you do that, it will take another 10 years, depending on the constitutional provision, for anybody to raise an issue of self-determination, like you have in the UK now. I think the one for the Scot vote will expire this year. For the past 10 years, you have not heard any Scot say, we want to leave UK, we want to exit UK. That's the beauty of referendum.
Voice of the People, 90.3 FM. It's time to speak with you now on this same issue. It's time to hear your voice on this, okay? But then if you want to call me, mind what you say on the national radio. That's all I have to say, okay? And of course, be as brief as possible, okay? Just call in, say your points, and that's it. My name is Jude. 0700 903 903 903 is the number to call. 0700 903 903 903. WhatsApp 081 717 56338. I wanted to ask you, with the way things are going, do you think Kanu will be released anytime soon? I had wanted to mention that because he's neither here nor there. Court today, out of court tomorrow, one judgment today, another judgment tomorrow. Some persons are saying, okay, maybe by 2027 it will be you give me this one, I give you that one. You understand?
Is that the way
what do you think?
Is that the way things are going? You said by the way things are going.
Yes, now. Can't you see what is happening in the court? One judgment today, another tomorrow. Ejimako is here today, he is here tomorrow, saying just the same thing. And then the other day, Kanu got angry. He said, no, he's not even going to answer to what's her name again. What's this woman's name in court? And then the woman backed out of the case. So I'm asking you, of course. Now, some persons have said he's going to be the president, giving Nnamdi Kanu to Nigerians, also to the Igbos in 2027, asking for their vote. What do you think?
Jude, between 2021, when Nnamdi was renditioned, unlawfully kidnapped by the Nigerian government and brought back to Nigeria, it has been the same back and forth. So when people say how things are going, I don't know how things are going. It's been the same thing. Nothing has changed from one court to the other, even when the court has said release him and the federal government files fresh charges against him and all of that. So nothing has changed. So when people say the way things are going, he's likely to be released. That was the lie we were sold to ahead of 2023 elections. Oh, don't worry. It is not the Buhari government that will release him. The moment this president makes on the scene, bam, the first thing he will do to the South is to appease them, is to release him
as a gift.
Kanu. As a gift to release Nnamdi Kanu. Now they have started promoting another agenda ahead of 2027. Oh, by the time election is due, he's just going to use Nnamdi Kanu to appease the Southeast. Where does that leave us? I mean, he's always playing politics with the Southeast on one bread and the other.
That is why I ask, what is going on?
What is going on is that the central government is holding Nnamdi Kanu in detention unlawfully, as declared by the courts. What else? We've talked about a political solution given out to other people. Why don't you extend the same thing to Nnamdi Kanu? And if it is the judicial angle you want to tow, why are you putting obstructions here and there? Why isn't Nnamdi held by DSS? Why not in a correctional facility? Should he be at the DSS? Shouldn't he have access to his lawyers? Aloy Ejimaka has complained. The other time he said Nnamdi was frail and sick. Why is the DSS keeping him? So between the political and the legal solution, why is it that the federal government is not able to exploit and give it to him so that there will be peace in the Southeast? The young man has promised, if you let me out, if anything about non-state actors, insecurity happens in the Southeast, hold me responsible. We had a senator of the federal government of Nigeria, serving senator, surety him, bail. The federal government ignored that, went to his home, wanted to kill him, killed some people. He ran away. They went and brought him back. Does Nigeria have a extradition treaty with Kenya? We don't even look at all these things. So that is exactly what is happening. So in the event of all these things that I have lined out, does it show you that the federal government is about to release him?
Let's get the views of the people right now on this. Okay, 0700 903 903 903. I would also be reading messages alongside because of my time. Okay, my name is Jude Ikami. If you want to call, you can call now. 60 seconds. Move away from your radio set or turn down the volume, and that's just it. Okay, so let's get to the phone lines, everyone. All right, let's start from here. Hello, good afternoon to you. Good afternoon, are you there? Can you hear me? Okay. I'm not sure you can hear me. Maybe you call back, okay? Let me talk to you now. Hello, good afternoon. Let's start from here. Hello, good afternoon to you. Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
I hear.
Good
Yeah,
afternoon,
good
are you
afternoon.
there?
Yeah, I greet Mr. Tsukuma Okoro.
Okay.
Yeah, the man always impressed me with his analysis.
Okay.
Well, Jide, I want to ask a question before I just listen. Which court reserved the prescription, and why?
Is the appeal court?
Okay. And why? What was their reason?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
What's their reason? Their reason for doing that?
For reserving judgment.
Wait. If just go ahead with your opinion,
Okay.
please.
Well, for this, for me, this is now they calling from Spain.
Okay.
Any court in Nigeria doesn't count again since they start messing themselves up. They should not take them even. When Buhari was this, if it is a government that this government that comes to defend Nigeria, all their judgments during the Buhari regime just reserve it. They just revise it. You see, Jude, he said they are saying Southeast. Jude, if you just go through a message of Nnamdi Kanu, you will be the one even to protest. Said no, they should release that man. All this thing, the man, this guy said, just came to pass. When he said there was time in Nigeria that your money will not be, even your money in the bank will not be your money. You find it difficult to receive, to get your money. This is what is happening now.
Yeah.
He just all these things. This even when he said Buhari, even years ago, said Buhari, after the Buhari, there's just this thing, after Buhari, it will be Tinubu. That Tinubu will say, and this thing came to pass. When Buhari just said, Tinubu came out and said, it's my turn. Exactly what this guy happened. I said. When these people were just disarming Idris, disarming villages. He said about that militants are coming. They want to disarm all the securities so that this village, this thing, so that anytime they just invade any village, they just have a free day.
Okay, thank you.
This is what happened. Jude, bring me down, please. That's to me. I ask question at times when people say that they prescribe this thing. Ask question, what really happened? How did Nnamdi do this thing? This guy came to see his mother And the mother, and this thing, after this thing, just Buhari just pick him without anything, put him in cell. After that, they said they released this guy. This guy went to the house and they murdered people. And this is the mother died. They did the mother. I said anybody that my own cause is this. Anybody that just come and see what that guy went through and they support it. That's what happened to Nnamdi, what happened to the person. That's all this thing for now.
Okay.
Okay, Jude, again.
Thank you so very much. Appreciate you.
Okay.
Voice of the People 90.3 FM. Let's talk to you now. Hello, good afternoon. Hello, good afternoon. Oh, I think you should call me back. If you want to call me, endeavor to move away from your radio set first. All right? So we can hear each other. Thank you so very much. Good afternoon. Hello, good afternoon. Are you there? Good afternoon. Oh, so sorry about that. Good afternoon. Hi.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon.
All right.
Yeah, this is Mwamba from Festa.
Okay. Quickly, please. Let's go.
Just want to greet your guest, Mr. Chukuma.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. Sir, you're doing a good job. You're doing a very good job.
Let's go. Let's go. We don't have time, please. We don't have time.
Yeah. I just wanted to ask about your guest yesterday. What happened? Why your guest decided to run away?
He's not running away. I think I told everyone he's not. I don't know. He's stuck in traffic or trying to get fuel somewhere. I really don't know. But then, even if he's not here right now, I will still get him back. Me, I'd like to. We must talk him. We must talk him. You understand? So let's put him aside and talk facts. Thank you.
Hello.
Good afternoon to you.
Judy.
Good afternoon.
Yes, my name is Mayor. I'm calling from Festac.
Welcome, Mayor.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chukwumokoro.
Good afternoon, brother.
Well done. I enjoyed the analysis. Judy, like yesterday, that your analyst, your guest yesterday was analyzing. Can you compare his analysis yesterday and Mr. Okoro's own today? Even the other man that called from Melu. There's what we call balanced and unbiased analysis. What Mr. Okoro just gave us, whether he's from East or not, is just balanced. Whether he's an Igbo man, these are facts. Talking about IPOB and calling IPOB terrorism, did you see how Mr. Okoro compared this and those ones from the north and all those other? So these are, from the look of it, you see that the facts are very glaring from what Mr. Okoro's angle. Like the other man that was trying to, telling us, even when I told him about how some people were as undercovers, fighting, destroying the Igbos, and they're still, he was just trying to. So these are the kind of analysis that need to be aired. The other guy was just like a sponsored agent. I'm sorry to say it, the way he was analyzing. And that was what some people were saying yesterday, that they were not sure that this guy is an Igbo man.
Thank you.
You know how Sokolo told you, look at the hierarchy of security. Look at the hierarchy. No Igbo man in a country, they said that the tribe, based on a tripod, 3 major ethnic groups, no Igbo man is anywhere near the hierarchy of security. And you are saying that this, and look at the way they are turning. So it's also unfortunate when the Igbos are saying they are being marginalized. And look at what is happening in the southeast. You can't travel from after River Niger before you get to like Aba in Abia State. It takes you so many hours. It's not supposed to take more than 90 minutes or 2 hours.
Thank you.
But it takes you hours because of.
I have to let you go now.
All over the place.
I have to let you go now. Thank you so very much.
So please, Mr. Okoro, you've done well. Please try.
I appreciate you. Thank you so very much. Thank you. Indeed, I appreciate you. All right. Hello, good afternoon. Hello, good afternoon. Are you there? We can hear you. Hello? Oh, maybe you call back. Okay. This is Voice of the People 90.3 FM. What's your name? Ifeanyi Chukwu from Egbeda. Thank you so very much for your message. Good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Ekami Jude.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Oh, I wish you well for your birthday on Saturday.
Oh, thank you so very much.
Please don't be annoyed. I am that Mama Goodness, who called you last week Wednesday.
About your son.
Financial. Pardon?
Go ahead. I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay. About financial and that widow who told you that she was not fine when he went home to bury the husband. come back.
Okay, yeah, I can hear you. We can't discuss that now because of our time.
Please, when even my son sent you congratulation message in this particular number. That day, that particular day, about your birthday for Facebook. Since that time, I have not heard anything. That is why, for a reminder, I know we cannot say it now, but I'm just reminding you whom I am.
It's all right. It's all right. There's no problem.
Please, is it next week we can discuss? Can I call you back?
No, don't worry. I have actually, what I do is I put out, a lot of persons are listening to you, they've listened to you, all right? So if there is any way someone is coming to at least assist, okay, I will sure reach out to you, okay? For me, right now, I have like more than 50 to 80 people, in my head right now. Okay, so from me to you, it might be a no. Load what I carry now, it pass me. If I pass me like 50 times, but then God is helping us. That's why for now I just put it out to Nigerians who are willing to assist. All right, and when anyone is willing to, of course, Mama, you would always hear from me. Okay, I'm sorry, but I understand what the country is doing to you right now, but it's well. That's all I can say for now. Good afternoon to you.
Yeah, you can be Judah. Good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon.
Mr. Kuro, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, brother.
What's your name?
Yeah, this is Mazi Douglas.
Okay. Where you calling from?
This AKA Mbafeson Lome.
Where you calling from?
Lome. From Lome.
Lome, Togo.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah. Please, I called you last week because of your birthday, but I did not get you because of the line. So that we'll join up where you are going. I will call you next week. I'm happy with what Mr. Okoro is saying. In my darling, they say, I'm one wake, see, I wouldn't wake. When they bomb my make it be man. This time around, we Igbo now, we are afraid of everyone. Look at the man you call from Enugu. He say, I am not forcing everybody to be member of IPOB, but what I'm trying to say, we are all Igbo. You ask that question, ask the man, say, is it not, are you? He say, no. The problem we have now that the fear in our body make us they are pressing us every day, until the day they will drive us from our home. Can be there. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much. I appreciate your call.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me read your messages now. Chinemere from Agbara is saying this. He said, as long as Nigerian leaders are marginalizing the southeast, Nigeria will keep on going down because right now there is no justice in Nigeria at every corner. Can anyone tell me what progress Nigeria is making since when now? C2 is here. Okay, C2, just hold on, okay? Can I bring you in now? Okay, let me just hear you first. C2, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Kamijide.
C2.
Yeah, I'm here to defend my people.
Oh yeah, come on, defend me.
And I'm here to make sure that I talk sense into Ndibo. I salute my brother there. But I want to say something. I'm talking to my Igbo brothers and sisters.
Okay.
Because I see that some of our people cannot read the handwriting on the wall. But someone like me do. My own job is to tell my people this is where the danger lies. If you like, don't take it. If you like, take it. But when it happens, I will still come here and say, I told you so. Ndibo, you know that you are a danger species in Nigeria. In fact, let me give you this instance. In 1966 coup, they said it was a Nzogu coup. And the Nzogu was an Igbo man. You see what they said? Now, after everything, they massacre Igbo people. They now come back and tell you that Nzogu is not an Igbo man. He's from Niger Delta. He's from South, right? You see what they're saying? That Nzogu is not an Igbo man now. But before they said this was Igbo coup. And they killed millions of Ndibo. But now Nzogu now is from Niger Delta. He's not an Igbo man now. Any Igbo person who doesn't want to listen, you will listen when you go to your grave. As by this point in time, you still don't understand what Nigeria means to you.
Be careful with your words.
Then,
be careful with your words. Learn to calm down. Be careful with your words.
Because some of my people cannot read from.
You have 60 seconds.
They cannot read the danger.
You have 60 seconds now.
Right. If any person doubt me that they are using Samanepa to destabilize our land, if you are doubting it, then go and search your brain. If you are doubting it, then when it happens, I will come here and tell you. Let me give you one instance. When we say we have evidence of what Samanepa did, the heaven and earth will bear me witness that we have evidence. There are some people who are calling our people, our prominent big men. They will call them that if they should bring the money to protect our land. They do call them, and some of them will be panic and pay money. Do you know some of them are being caught? Who are those guys that is calling those people, those prominent men? Yeah, if they didn't pay them when they will burn their house. Some of them are being caught. They told us who are the people sending them. And these are Samanepa boys.
Thank you.
Who are sending them
it's okay.
to go and start causing chaos in our land. We know all these things.
Your time is
go to Imo State and do investigation. Hope most of them know what I'm talking. That is what I'm saying here is the truth.
Thank you so very much.
In Imo State, the army knows that what I'm saying is the truth.
Thank you. Thank you. Let me let you
but
go.
But since that our people don't want to listen when we are telling them. When time comes, I'll come here and tell you that I told you so.
Thank you so very much. I appreciate you. Thank you. Okay, let me end what Chinemere is saying. He said Nigeria is okay. Can anyone tell me what progress Nigeria is making since 1960 to date? The same mistake that Buhari regime did to proscribe IPOB is the same mistake that Tinubu government is doing by branding protesters as treasonable offense. And today the trial is on. Chinemere from Agbara. Please tell your guests that Nnamdi Kanu has started the secession agitation since 2009. There is a video of Nnamdi Kanu on YouTube advocating for the breakup of Nigeria since 2009 on a certain channel that I would not want to mention now because I don't have, please tell your, what are you trying to say? Okay, Solomon, right? Sika from Mushin. Thank you so very, very much. Just want to say a big thank you to Mr. James and Mr. Chukuma in the studio. They have spoken very well. Thank you so very much. Anyway, let me quickly run because of my time. Anyone or Igbo man who says MNK and IPOB is a terrorist group, forget the words of Walt Disney, which says the way to get started is to quit talking and begin doing. That's what he said. Nnamdi Kanu stopped talking and began doing. That is why an Igbo man can even mention Biafra. A good number of their people have still been able to farm and their lands haven't been totally taken. I repeat, totally collected from them. Bravery is in action, not words. To justify the killings, in April 2016, in a state that has a governor, Fulani herdsmen invaded Opabi, Nimbo community in Uzowani, local government area of Enugu State, killing 40 people and many more. That is why Nnamdi Kanu had to begin protecting his people. 2. Benjamin Franklin said that well done is better than well said. It is better to put up a true referendum without hacks and skirts and interference. Then allow only the Igbo people to vote and decide if they want to remain in Nigeria. After that, if any group of people decide to say anything about Biafra, they should be prescribed as terrorists. Lastly, please, the government to release MNK. Thank you so very much. This person is calling from where now? Let me see if I can talk to you. Oh, so sorry about that. Maybe you call back, okay? Thank you so much. My name is Ifeanyi. Thank you for the level of great and mature men you bring to your program. My take is that government is not taking responsibility. Instead, they cause most of the problems. Okay, thank you so very much. Let me see what this person is also saying. Good afternoon, Judy, and the analyst in the studio. If the government release MNK today, all this nonsense will come to an end. Both sitting at home on Mondays and so on. Mazi Okeke is his name. All right. It's okay. Hello, good afternoon to you this afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon to you.
This
Remy.
is Remy and calling from North London.
Great to have you, Remy.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well done to you and your guests.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. You see, I'm reading a book by Mandela, Long Walk to Freedom. And everything I've seen in the book so far reflects the things that IPOB stand for. Of course, first of all, the way to solve this crisis, the government should just remain humble. Violence cannot solve it. If violence can solve it, America would never have left Iraq, Afghanistan after 20 years of wasting lives and money. The FARC rebel in Colombia have to be negotiated with. In Ireland, Britain, and all of that, we see this history have taught us all of this without taking much of your time. I want the national government to bring Biafran people to the table.
Okay.
Because the behavior of the president of the government is giving popularity to Biafran. First of all, let's nationalize the Biafran memory. The Civil War was our war. In Rwanda, this is what they did. And lastly, let us criminalize every form of hate against any Nigerians in Nigeria. In Rwanda, you are not allowed to ask about people's tribe. You just give them what they deserve. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much, Remy. Appreciate your call. Do have a great day today. Have you wondered why now that a Nadeko man is president, nobody is talking about restructuring? If you actualize Biafra today, will these governors in the East still be governors? Chikuma, did you hear that one? If you actualize Biafra today,
I mean,
will these governors in the East still be governors?
No, Jude, if you want me to chime in, the process of recognition of statehood, takes it takes a long while. Like I just told you about the comprehensive peace agreement, that gave Sudan, the South Sudan, the sovereignty it has. Now, it took 6 years. 6 years of transition period, where you transit from one government to the other, you create bodies, you create institutions of state, and all of that. It is supervised by an organization, either the African Union, the ECOWAS, the AU, and all of that. In the case of Sudan and South Sudan, like I said, I have read that agreement. The CPA, the Comprehensive Peace Agreement, I've read it word for word. There is the signature of Riek Machar, there is the signature of Silva K, there is signature of Colin Powell, who was the United States Secretary of State that time, that even incubated, the process that up until the CPA was given legal life. So it is not an issue of, you give Biafra. Mba, you are no longer governor of Enugu. Oti, you are no longer governor of Abia. If Mwifru, you are no longer governor of Ebonyi State. No, there's a process of transition.
There's a process.
A process of transition.
Okay.
But before you even get to that point, you even have to talk about an agreement between members of the union, whether you want to stay or you want to remain.
Thank you so very much, Chikuma.
Is that my final word?
No, hold on.
Okay.
Hold on, it's not. Just as cancer kills those that are diagnosed of it, a country with a fractured system can't survive for long. The solution to our problem is in our past NSAS 2.0. The judiciary is corrupt, executive is blind, the legislature is indifferent. Which way, Nigeria? What's your name? Chidi from Osho, sent that message. Let me quickly run through all these messages now. Who said Nigeria is a zoo? Who said we would go to Abuja to bring Buhari's head on a plate? Kanu also, what's your name? FM from Ogun State. Okay. Chiagui from Mushin. What is it saying? Speak with the fact. God bless you. Please, Jude. Okay, let me read it. It said, Chukuma Okoro has said it all. He speaks with facts. God bless you, sire. Please, sensitive issues of this magnitude should be discussed and analyzed by an elder that knows about IPOB and Biafra. All right? Okay. Thank you so very much. That was what you said. I appreciate that. My question now is, if referendum is going to be conducted, is it this same INEC chairman that will conduct the referendum, bearing in mind the glitches? Elder Samuel from Oshodi. Maybe you finalize with that for us. No, I took it now. I was chatting from Ebeda about your guest. Okay, let's just remain on the issue. The government continues detention of Nnamdi Kanu is making the Southeast more popular. Aneke, Chinonso, thank you so very much. Okay, Chukwumokoro, you have the floor now quickly. 30 seconds.
Yes, you see, Jude, it's easy to understand, when emotions get in the way of reasoning, because the people from the Southeast have passed through a lot, but I think it is time to have a permanent closure, about the events that led to the Civil War and the events after the Civil War.
Okay.
It is left for the central government. It is left for the federal government to have this closure because they have the resources to do that. They have the authority to do that. Now, you see, when you talk about agitation, it's not a tea party. Unfortunately, it is not. Along the line, you have collateral damages here and there. And why? It's because avenues for peaceful resolution of grievances have been closed out against the people. There's a saying that, I think, what's his name? Oh, John Viscount Morley.
Okay.
One of the British greatest philosophers, he said, look, you have not converted a man if you merely silenced him. If you silence the Igbo people, you have not converted them. Look into their grievances. We also agree that other ethnic groups are aggrieved. People from the Niger Delta are aggrieved. They have been criminalized with, right, the spoliation, pollution of the environment, and all of that. In summary, the government, the central government, holds the ace to the resolution of whatever crisis we have in Nigeria. And they should do well to do that, because this thing is not taking us anywhere.
Okay. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Judy.
I want to appreciate you.
Thank you, Judy. Thanks for having me. My pleasure.
It's been a great one. Finally, we've been able to do justice, to these. Hope everybody don't calm down now.
I just hope so.
With these few words of yours, I hope
the federal government is listening. And they will heed. It's not just me, it's about Nigerians. The voice of the people. The voice of the people.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you.
Don't go on if you go on. My name is Jude. Ikami Jude. Thank you so very much, everyone, on Instagram or, on social media. Just go and check up IKAMIJUDEH. Ikami Jude. Just one word. I'll see you again on Monday by the special grace of God. We'll keep talking. It's our country. This is Voice of the People, and it's 90.3 FM. Happy weekend to everyone, and thank God it's Friday. I'm out of here. Good afternoon to you. From the latest trends in digital